stud gun. So what the stud gun does, welds a nail to the panel. I'm going to show you how that works. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to identify my dented area, which is this area that you can see right here. So I have, looks like I can actually see where something hit this. And whoever worked on this car before just took this and filled it with body filler. We're not going to do that. We're going to use a very minimal amount of filler by using my technique. If I go to this area and I feel for my low spots, what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld my nail to a low spot in this dent. And then I am going to use a slide hammer, which is this device here, which is going to attach to the nail. Now the reason why they call it a slide hammer is this slides, and this is weighted, so it's actually a hammer. What it's going to do, when I drive it back like this, it's going to pull on that pin, and it's going to try and pull this dent out. So that's what we're going to work on, and I'm going to show you how to do this. So here is my stud gun or pull pin welder here. Okay, this is the actual stud that we're going to weld to the panel. We insert that in the end of the stud gun like this. Then we're going to take this stud gun, we're going to bring it right over here, and we're going to put it right on here like this. We're going to find our low spot, and we're going to squeeze the trigger. Now, it automatically stops after the weld is complete. Now we have a stud welded to the panel. So now I'm going to put my slide hammer on there, and we're going to bang this dent out from the outside. Okay, so I got my pin welded on. I take my slide hammer and I loosen it so it will slide over this pin. Now, once I get it over the pin, I tighten this nut. That clamps it down onto the pin, and then I'm going to use this and I'm going to bang this dent out. As I do it, I'm going to feel my panel and see how my dent's coming along. And I think it's coming along pretty nicely. Can feel it all different ways. I've got my dent partially out. Now, I just put a little loosen this, a little inward pressure, and boom, that comes right off. So now what I have is this feels pretty good, but on this side of my pin, it's still low. So I'll bring the small camera over and I'll give you a real visual. So here is my pin. Now my dent extended way over to here. Now I feel this way, and it feels pretty good. It might still be a whisker low, but not bad. But now right here where my finger is definitely a low spot. And then this is pretty decent. It's got it kind of goes down, and then this is the deep spot. So I'm gonna find this deepest area right here, right about where my fingertip is, and I'm gonna weld another stud. And then I'm gonna bang this out. But for the time being, I'm gonna leave this stud right here on there in case I wanna pull on this to remove, say, a pressure line of some sort. So I got my stud gun, I put my pin in the end. I find my low spot that I want to attach the pin, and I put this right against it, and I weld that pin on, and there we are. So now, it cools off pretty quickly. So I'd be able to put my tool right on here and give this a little bit of a pull, and we'll see what happens. It's a little bit harder when you have another pin next to it. Now, I'm actually even a little bit further out. So I've walked that back. So now I'm gonna feel it, and I feel a little bit of a low spot over in here. So I'm gonna weld another pin and maybe make another quick tap, and then see what we're looking at. Okay, so by now you know the process. We put this in the end, Now I'm going to feel this, find that low spot that I'm looking for. There we go. We're going to put it in this area. Okay, so now this is feeling pretty darn good, okay? But now there's some other techniques that I can use. Sometimes what happens is, when you have a dent like this, right around this outside dent, where it starts to make its depression, it creates a ridge. We like to call it a pressure ridge, because there's pressure on that ridge, obviously. So, to relieve that pressure and allow the center of the dent to come up, what we like to do is put a little pull on the low spot and tap on the pressure ridge. That's what I'm going to show you how to do next. Now this area right here is where my pressure ridge is that I spoke of earlier. And when I feel down here, it actually isn't too bad, except for like maybe right in this area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a tool like this, and I am going to pull on that center pin, and as I pull on that center pin, I am going to tap this area right here where my ridge is. What that's gonna do is it's gonna depress my ridge, and it's gonna allow this center part to come upward to be flush with the rest of the panel. Now I'm not gonna do this really hard, but I'm gonna put the other camera on so you can see me do it overall. Okay, so there's two things I'm going to need. I need something to pull on that pin with, which is going to be this. This is called a stud buddy. And then I'm going to use a small body hammer, and I'm going to tap on that ridge. So this is how it's going to go. It might not be the most ideal thing for you to see, but we're going to do our best. So I'm going to put light pressure on that, and then I know where my ridge is by feeling this as I pull on it. Pull on it. Tap that ridge. And then I can grab my other pin that's right next to it. I can put a little pressure on that. And tap on the ridge there. And then I can go back to my first one. Oops. Grab this pin. Put some pressure on it and pull on that one. So now I feel as though I've gotten rid of my ridge, and I got a pretty flat area. I mean, this isn't bad. So at this point, I'll be able to break my pins off, and then I can run a file over this and see what I've got. So I want to take an opportunity to show you another trick that I use that will help you. Okay, now if you got a panel that should be flat, the trick is to use a straight edge. So if I take my straight edge and put it on my panel and you look down, you're not going to see any light between my straight edge and the panel. And then as you go down to my damaged area, if you should see some light in there, you know you got a low spot. I mean, I can feel the low spots, but not everybody has that experience, and if you don't, the straight edge will help you, so you can use this. Once I get my area where I want it to be, and I no longer need these pins, I just take the pins and break them off like this. It's kind of a weird thing, but all of the pressure that these pins hold are straight away and not from side to side. Now, I've got a pretty decent area. I think I'm gonna hit this with a file, and then we'll see what it looks like first. Okay, so I have my body file. Take this hammer out of the way here. And I'm gonna run the body file over this area. Now, what's gonna happen when I do this is the file is going to hit the areas that are high, and it's going to expose the areas that are low. Now, I don't want to get too crazy with the file because I'm not trying to file the material off. I'm just using this to identify my high areas and my low areas, which I can see in this area and this area here. And I'm just going to chase it a little bit. Until I identify that one high area. Then I'm going to take my pick hammer and I'm going to tap that area a little bit, and then I'm going to file it again. So now I've tapped down on the area that my file was hitting. And then I'm going to file a little bit more. Then I'm going to tap that area again. Notice how I'm moving my file and I'm doing it on different angles. That will expose my area in different ways. I'm still working on that one little high spot. Now this is starting to shape up. I mean, you could watch me do this for the next hour, but I'm not going to do that. I will kind of progress a little bit, then I'll bring you back on. So I've gone about as far as I really want to take this. I have a few very, very small low spots, but overall, what I'm really looking to do is to get, say, 90% of my dent out. A little bit here and there, a little bit of glaze coat, and primer is going to take care of that. Now, what I don't want is to have any high areas where it seems like the area is protruding from my panel. That's where the file and the pick hammer comes into play to make sure you don't have those high areas. Okay, so I'll bring the small camera over here. I'll show you what the surface looks like, and I'll bring the straight edge so you can look and see how smooth this really is. So here's our area. You can see where where I welded the pins, and you can see these shiny areas here are where my file has contacted the surface. So I'm in pretty good shape. If I take my straight edge and place my straight edge on here, see what you got, how it fits against the panel. Now as I move down in my repair area, you can kind of see, like right here, yeah, do I have a couple of areas where you can see between the straight edge and the panel? Yes. But is it worth spending another hour, you know, picking and filing that to get that last little bit out? That's going to be up to you. I mean, if I wanted to spend enough time at this, I could make this thing all look like this. Perfect. But it just doesn't make any sense for me because I have all of these other areas on here that I have to do. I would literally be spending the entire day on just this door, and it just you got to look at the cost benefit analysis, so to speak. So you can see here where my file is hitting and kind of hitting over here. This is another dent, so I'm going to work that area. Then I'm going to work this area, and I'm just going to keep doing this until I have the whole panel in pretty good shape. Okay, so I'm back. I've chased out, there's like all of these spots that you see were some type of a dent or a ding. And I went over this whole panel with the file, and I do have some low areas where I made these pulls, but I mean, it's almost, you almost can't even see it with the straight edge. So I'm going to call it a day with that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take some 36 and clean this door up. What I wanted to say is if you like my content, please give me a like. If this is a subject that interests you, please subscribe to my channel. I have a lot of content on my YouTube channel on how to do this kind of work. So it'll save you a lot of time if you watch my videos and employ my techniques. I've been doing this for over 40 years. I am a second generation body man, and there is no replacement for somebody showing you how to do something. And this is old school way of doing things. Guys in body shops now throw this stuff away and replace it. That isn't how I was taught, and that isn't how I work. So I am going to continue on this, and I hope you tune into my future videos, and good luck on your project.